Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video requested by Gato Saprendindo 5279. It's called Morgott, His Story Explained Elden Ring Lore, made on the Hawkshaw YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out my previous reactions to other Elden Ring lore videos made by YouTubers, remember the playlist card is going to be at the top here. Just click on it and be able to access them. If you want to check out in particular Hawkshaw reactions, I'm also going to put the links in at the top here, on the playlist card, if you want to check out the original video as well as Hawkshaw's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. And let us start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Morgott didn't care about omens. After he became king, he left his Omen brothers locked up in the sewers. He used them in the War of the Shattering.
Wait, it was him? He did that? And was he also the one who gave the Omen those swords that had expiry dates? You know, like they can only use them for so long and then they shatter? That was his idea? Wow. Okay.
Sent them into battle with cleavers with merely a wrap of cloth for a handle, a weapon cursed to break. He rose to power, but did nothing for his kind. For Morgott was not an Omen saint. He was a saint for the Erdtree.
He was not a saint. He was a tool for the Erdtree. He was a tool for the Greater Will. A saint is celebrated. A saint is seen as someone who is loved by the institution or by the religion or the culture or the people. You know, the saint is venerated and given statues and written in books. And with Morgott, there's nothing like that. There's absolutely nothing like that. He is simply a tool to be used. And then once his purpose is complete, he'll be thrown out.
Most loyal apostle. He loved the Erdtree, and though this love was unrequited, he devoted all his power, his cunning, and his unquestioning obedience to it.
The question is why? Why did he do that? There better be a very good answer for why would he, support an institution that looks down upon the Omen, that sees them as monsters, that sees them as creatures that would bring the end of the Golden Order and the Erdtree, you know, that see Omen as creatures that can be culled purely because of who they are and what they're capable of doing, you know. Why would he support a system that suppresses, or sorry, not suppress, but oppresses his people, the Omen, and I think what were they called again? The misbegotten people. Yes. You know, why would he support an institution that would make people who look like him suffer?
It led only to failure and death. But Morgott believes he lived and died with honor. But his honor rests on the framework of his beliefs. Disgust may mislead. Empathy can mislead. We must quiet both to find what Morgott really did in the lands between. Because Morgott is an enigma.
He truly is. He truly is.
Morgott was born a failure. His parents were strong and beautiful, a goddess and a warrior. Morgott, along with his twin, inherited strength, but not beauty, and many, far too many other traits besides. The traits of many creatures, many minds, many souls. Whether Morgott and Mog were born after their brother Godwyn, or they were Marika's first children. We do not yet know. What is clear is the stark difference between the siblings. Godwyn is almost a parody of a demigod, his appearance something found only in myth or art.
He looks like his father, you know, the golden hair, or maybe even his mother, the golden hair with his stature. Yeah, he looks like his father, the first Elden Lord. What's his name again? I forgot his name. Godfrey, right? Yeah, Godfrey.
Morgott is born horned, tailed, coated in fur, his twin winged and fanged.
Yeah. Look at the horn coming out of his eye socket there. Oh gosh. Or is it growing into his eye socket? I'm not sure. Whew.
Godwyn is very likely given a finger maiden as a wet nurse, given freedom, status, and goes on to honour the golden lineage in his lifetime. Morgott is kept secret, sent below the capital, and locked away for the shame and danger he represents. For Morgott was not worshipped as a signifier of the divine, even at his birth. He was born one of the graceless Omen. At his first moment, the Greater Will rejects him. Marika and Godfrey recognize this. Godfrey, the leader of the famous Crucible Knights, knights who at the time of Morgott's birth are still honoured, understands the difference. The knights have the blessing of potential. Morgott has its curse. As Morgott was born one of them, it is likely some others have come before, and they were all graceless.
Wait a minute, so then how many children did Marika have that had the Omen curse? Or is it just Morgott and Mog that are the only two demigod royal children who are also Omen? I'm just wondering about that. Did Marika have other Omen children, or was it only these two? Yeah.
Marika and Godfrey name their son Morgott, but it is a name that no one will know until much later, for their son is to be kept a secret.
And if he's kept a secret, is he kept a secret also from the other demigod children? So essentially his siblings don't know he exists. And neither does he know that he has siblings. He probably only knew about his siblings after he escaped from his incarceration. What was that place called again? Underground, under Lindell, where they keep all the Omen. I forgot what they called that place. But when he escaped from that place, did he then realize the truth that he has siblings and they are powerful beings with powerful armies that all want to vie for control over the Elden Ring? I'm just wondering about that. Yeah.
How could a child of the golden lineage, the golden bough, be so malformed? If those blessed by gold could have such disordered offspring, then it is more than an omen. It is proof that at some point the system will fail. So on his birth they hide him away, and then see to it that Morgott is locked up, away from prying eyes, underground, unbeknownst to anyone, imprisoned for eternity. And we know it is in secret. How? Godfrey calls him Morgott. Morgott is the name used much later in his life, a name used publicly. If this name was widely known to be the name of Marika's Omen offspring, he would never be accepted in Leyendell. But Morgott is a name that was buried underground, and he is not only kept underground as other royal Omen were, he is kept under strictest confinement, magically bound to the ground by golden magic. The fetish imbued with magic bears the symbol during the time of crucible worship, adapted to represent the Omen curse that relates to it. The gold draws the blessed crucible that birthed this new era, But omens were never worshipped, even in these early days. It is no divine signifier, it is a curse, a cause of harm and misery. Morgott's horns physically prevent him from even resting his head. They push through his flesh painfully, leaving welts and sores.
So how does he sleep? Does he sit on a chair and just, closes his eyes and sleeps like that, or what? What happens? Hey, and the Omen also have nightmares when they sleep. So, oh gosh, it's tough. It's really tough.
His joints seem riddled with arthritis. His skin is pockmarked and infected. He can only see out of one eye. The other is crowded by horns. Horns would have blocked both eyes entirely, but to see clearly, some horns had to be cut, an operation that came at great risk to Morgott's life. Other horns still crowd his right eye, but Morgott prefers compromised vision rather than risking death to continue clearing them away.
And if you clear them away, is it gone permanently or will they grow back? Yeah, I'm just wondering about that. I would take that chance though. If I was Morgott, I would take that chance to remove all these horns as much as possible, especially around the area where I'm supposed to be seeing things happening around me. I can't have horns, covering my eyesight, especially during a battle. So yeah, I would take that chance. If I die, I die. Oh gosh, I mean really, these things, the horns on the face and on the head, it's just really, it's so bad.
If you're enjoying the video, it really helps us out if you like and subscribe. We've got a lot of content planned and we can't wait to share it with you. These are just the physical symptoms. Spirits twist and fight for release within him. Thoughts, emotions, and desires that are not his own battle for place. His blood boils with a maddening heat, and if sleep comes to him, it comes with nightmares. Nightmares haunted by elders. For an omen is not only physically the aspects of many, body, mind, and soul are all overfilled and attacked from within. It is no wonder omens are mad, aggressive, and in many ways worthy of pity.
And this also brings up a question, like, why is it that Morg and Morgott are not like other Omen? They're not going crazy, they're not mad, they're not animalistic in a way, They don't just attack you out of the blue. They are even able to speak. You're able to converse with them. Why can't the other Omen do the same? What's so special about these two? That they can speak, that they can converse, that they have a far more how should I say this? They're far more intelligent, if I could say, compared to other Omen. They're able to organize, they're able to execute plans. They're able to do whatever they desire, In terms of Morg, he took what was his name again? I forgot his name. Oh no. One of the demigods. He took one of the demigods for his blood cult, religion, or order that he wants to create. And then Morgott is here defending the Erdtree. So why is it that they can do these things while other Omen can't? Is it because they're demigod children? Yeah, I'm just wondering.
But do not pity them and deny them their affliction. To live as an Omen is a brutal existence, because it is a pestilence on life itself. Anyone who carries it is a great risk. At the core of the treatment of omens is not a sadistic desire to cause pain. At least, that's not how it started, and prejudice grew with time. After all, an omen does not choose to be born cursed. Please don't hate me or curse me. pleas. In Morgott's case, a royal, his plea was listened to with more kindness than most. Royal omens could have been culled like animals or cut like commoner omens. Instead, they are shunned. And it is Morgott's own mother who likely decided on the shunning grounds as a solution. We do not know if Marika cared for Morgott or even visited him during his time below the capital, but she would see him again above ground, much later.
Okay, with Marika, I'm not sure if she really loved her sons who were Omen. Because you know how she acts or how she is, towards people who are not blessed by the grace of the Erdtree, or those who do not follow the Golden Order, and those who are outside of the influence of the Greater Will. She considers them as enemies, as people that need to be exterminated or defeated or destroyed, and probably she thinks the exact same way with the Omen, because they're a threat to her order. So I don't know if she truly loved these sons. I don't even think she has the space or the capacity or the willingness to love children who are cursed with the Omen blood, if I could say that. Because she's a god, she is representing this system that governs the lands in between. She cannot be seen to be compromised by her emotions for loving her sons who are Omen, And if she does love her sons, then it's definitely different to how she loves her other children. Yeah, because she's never visited, I'm not sure if she's visited her sons in the shunning, what is it called? The shunning grounds, where the other Omen are being kept under Lindell City. I don't think she's visited him, or maybe she has, we're not sure. But, she definitely loves her children in different ways. Those who are not Omen, she loves them in that particular way, and then with the Omen children, she loves them in a very cold manner, I think. Yeah. But basically, she can't afford to love these children like the way she would love her other children, because of what they are. And in this society, those who are Omen are either to be ostracized from the community, or dehorned or killed simply because of their taint or their blood. So she loves them in her own way, I guess. Yeah.
Did she pity him during his confinement? Some care for omens enough to memorialize them, but did Marika love Morgott at his birth? Whether born of a mother or of a bough, he is Marika's child. When Marika lost her son Godwyn, it pushed her to the brink, but looking at history, Morgott's suffering does not seem to disturb Marika's relentless plans. Godfrey is a little different.
Like I said, with Marika, she loves her children who are not Omen in a particular type of way, and then those who are Omen, she loves them in a different type of way. Totally different. Yeah. It's kind of weird, but that's how it is out here.
Godfrey understands what it means to have an uncontrollable nature. His appearance hides what he is, more of a beast than a lord. He must at least pity Morgott and his affliction. However, it is unlikely Godfrey fought for Morgott's release, and if he did, it was unsuccessful. To conduct himself as a lord is to follow the rules of the society, even if it concerns your own son.
You could say the same thing about Marika, For her to conduct herself as a god, she must follow the rules that have been set, and, her personal feelings cannot come into conflict with it. However, they did come into conflict with her responsibilities when her son Godfrey, got assassinated. Not Godfrey, Godwin, yes, got assassinated by the Black Knives assassins, yeah.
If he at least visited his son in the dungeons, these visits cannot last, for Godfrey is sent away from the lands between, after which he will only have one more meeting with his son, once they have both been given grace, but it will be too late to tell him that he conducted himself as a true lord.
Because he's dead at that time, yeah.
Morgott grows down in the shunning grounds. He must at first feel pain, confusion, panic at each terrible symptom of his curse. The disorder of mind and body for a young Morgott would have been a constant trauma. For anyone born to a life of such conditions, it may well turn them into a maniac. In time, Morgott must become aware of his place in the world and of the nature of his curse. So too does his curse grow in power. He gains the stature of his father, and a strength that in time may match any demigod. He can feel it within him, even if he cannot wield it. His blood burns. Pinned to the ground by golden magic, he must yearn to break this seal, and use the growing power of his cursed blood. His treatment may well deserve revenge, as he now understands what has been done to him, and he resents them for it. Today, the capital is quiet, well past its former glory. Some can hear the groans of the omens down below, and it disturbs them to hear it, to know these abominations are beneath their feet. But how much worse to hear the sounds of the capital while it flourished from down in the shunning grounds. Morgott, Mog, and the other royal Omen have to listen to the victories and celebrations as the Erdtree's empire expands. They must listen with an aching longing to the joys of the citizens of Leyendell during the Age of Plenty. Morgott receives none of the blessings of this age, and must listen as this entire age passes him by.
I mean, imagine your brothers and sisters are enjoying their lives in the city on the surface, and celebrating with their mother and their father, the great victories of battle or conquest, or having parties and just enjoying the golden age of Leyendell and the Erdtree, while you guys, your brother and the other omens are just trapped in these shunning grounds. And I mean, doesn't that build up resentment? Doesn't that build up jealousy or hatred or ambition to try and change the system? I think that would happen to me. If I was Morgott, I would definitely feel as if I'm being abandoned, as if I am this thing that cannot be loved. And I would want to change that. I would want to change the status quo. I would want to change how Omen are living in this world. And the fact that Morgott didn't have any of those emotions, didn't have any of those, ambitions or plans. Instead, he decided to devote his life to protecting the very thing that has put him into this position. It's amazing.
Gold blesses the citizens of Leyendell. Grace guides all but the Forsaken. Morgott hears his father returning from various battles and the celebrations of his triumphs. He hears the attack by the ancient dragons. He may hear Godwin battle, his blessed brother once again finding glory. He hears his mother's second marriage to Radagon, her new husband and his new stepfather.
Imagine that. Your father is divorced from your mother and has been, kicked out from the lands in between. And then you you only realize that when you hear that your mother has married a new man who's now your stepfather. You know, you hear these news coming from the surface through the echoes of the walls and the pipes and everything else that's descending all the way down to the shunning grounds. That's how you get the news. That your family is broken and you have a new stepfather, you have new brothers and sisters coming into existence. And they'll never know you. You'll never know them. Your existence is just in that dark, damp place. Wow.
He hears these things from the sewers, alone. What he does not hear is Marika sending his father away. There is no battle to hear, as Godfrey does not fight this order, but accepts it, and Morgott must only realise that his father has left the Lands Between some time afterwards. He may have heard it from Rollo, the renowned perfumer who must have visited Morgott. As a royal omen capable of speech, Morgott would have been of interest to Rollo, far beyond his duties. Morgott would already have been the most important omen below the capital at the height of Rollo's career. It may be from Morgott that Rollo learns of the omen's nightmares, and incorporates it as the first omen killer. Morgott will have dealings with these omen killers, but much later. There is still a long while left in the sewers. Morgott is now without his father, shunned by his mother, and unknown to the rest of the world. Many other omen crowd the shunning grounds now. Did Morgott have his twin for company all this time, or were they separated for their confinement? If so, Morgott may not know he has a twin at all. As the age of Radagon goes on, Morgott must reach a new state of mind. Instead of acting the way he is treated, or as a direct response to it, he will choose how to act.
I like the music, yes. Age of Mythology, once more, yeah. I like the soundtrack. Good choice.
Most in the Lands Between behave in a very understandable way. If you treat me as a monster, so be it. I shall act as a monster. But Morgott decides to act beyond his circumstances. Morgott begins to understand the realities of the world above, and accept them. Omens under the current form of order are dangerous.
It's one thing to understand, but to accept this reality is a different thing altogether. Why? Why are you accepting it? Have you questioned? Have you probed whether there can be an alternative to this reality? Wow.
If he wasn't an omen, but instead the ruler of the Lands Between, what would he have done in the ruler's place? Morgott battles with resentment and hate, and even infatuation with his own blood and power. But even in the shadows cast by the Age of Plenty, there is no doubt. He has only seen glimpses of its works, but the Erdtree is a miracle, and Morgott now begins to devote himself to it, not to his mother or his family, not to his twin or omen brothers, but to the Erdtree and to its order. Where Morgott goes deeper into his wildness and glories in his omen nature, eventually going so far as to try to create a whole new order, Morgott believes in how things are. The Erdtree order is already incomparable, even with its mistakes, one of which he is living with. He comes to these beliefs slowly, and they will never leave him. Now he must persuade his mother to release him, for Marika does not trust lightly, not even her own family, not even her own son. But somehow he persuades her. He persuades her that he is no longer tempted by his cursed blood and its power. He persuades her of his devotion. Did Marika now ask him to prove it, or were Morgott's next actions his own idea? Whatever the case, in an act that shows his decision to control his Omen side and his immense willpower, he recants his accursed blood and seals it away. The word recant may also show the mental side of this action. It is also an act of the mind and an act of faith. He denies the attraction of its power, or even its potential for a different order. Morgott is then, for the first time in his life, granted freedom.
And Morg, what about his brother? Is he also granted freedom, or is he just kept there? And does Morgott know that he has a brother at this time? Yeah, I'm just wondering.
He comes to the surface and becomes a loyal servant of the Erdtree, and to this end he serves Marika. At this point he assumes the name Morgott. The world has never seen him, never heard of Morgott. Morgott is an Omen, an intelligent and horned Omen whose strength is so terrible that Marika has chosen him to serve her personally. That
Tool.
he is of the Golden lineage, or Marika and Godfrey's son, is a secret. It may be like any beast that is usually killed, but that shows exceptional strength. It is allowed a small freedom. Morgott is his public face. It is very likely that Morgott keeps the ragged furs from his captivity, filthy and stained, to remind him of his place. They may even be a comfort now.
Hold on. Sorry, Hawkshaw. During the time when Morgott is asking Marika, right? He's asking Marika that he wishes to be on the surface, he wishes to participate and work under her. Is it during the time when Radagan and Marika were in one body, in one existence? I'm just wondering about that, because maybe it wasn't Marika who is giving a chance to Morgott. Maybe it's Radagan, you know? Maybe it's the Radagan side of the body that they share. Because I don't think Marika would have accepted this, would have agreed to this. You know, she's been really disciplined and resolute in keeping the Omen down there, even if it is her own children down there in the shunning grounds. And she's always been, you know, very committed to the protection of the Golden Order, or should I say the Erdtree, and the wishes of the Greater Will. So why would she trust an Omen, even if it is her son? Why would she trust an Omen with such important tasks and allowing him to be in close proximity with the Erdtree and with the rest of the family? You know, I don't think it was her decision. I think this is Radagan, part of her, you know, influencing the decision. I think, yeah.
They are made of fur. Fur is of an animal, which is much of his nature. His head sits in a collar shaped almost like a crucible. Under the Erdtree, no matter his power or social rank, he is an Omen, and he will make sure he never forgets it.
Don't worry, if you forget it, people will remind you. They will remind you.
He is willing to live in rags, to disdain and resent himself. Such is his love for the Erdtree. A mother to a demi-human once made a prattling paid sculpture in the shape of her child's face. It says, "You're beautiful." The description says, "unconditional love, unrestrained assurance." It must have been a mother speaking. But some women in this world do not share these instincts.
Marika.
Is Morgott humble or humbled? How much is the world responsible for his attitude? Or could it be the influence of just one person? Marika can be ruthlessly cruel, and she treats those less than human with brutal unkindness. Whether it's the giants, a lowly blacksmith, or even those you would expect her to be kind to. like her husband, her loyal other half? Would the shame of her son lead to abuse? For it is not just humility Morgott seems to have, is it also self-loathing? His robes aren't only rags, they are filthy. They are caked in dirt and likely reeking, as though they haven't been washed since leaving the sewers. The creators of Elden Ring's world have a long history of characters abused in captivity, made to wear their filthy clothes of imprisonment even once they are released, to remind them of their place, to shame them, to keep the mind captive even once the body is free. Part of Morgott's relationship to himself may also be a vestige of some horrific treatment below the capital, but we cannot know. We can only ask why he is so harsh on himself. Morgott helps Marika and Radagon maintain their Golden Order. He has a connection with his mother at last, as her assassin. He is charged with culling those who become too strong. The time of great heroes is past. The order and the hierarchy is established. Leave a hero to strengthen too long and a new Godfrey may arise, war-hungry and willing to challenge the rulers in place. Morgott is given the charge of the Knight Cavalry, who ride funeral steeds and deliver death for great warriors, knights and champions. With
Wow, so essentially if you become an accomplished knight or a warrior or some general, you know, you're a threat to the empire. You're a threat to the Erdtree empire. You're a threat to the royal family, and therefore you have to be killed. Wow. Definitely, I am not going to have the ambition to be the most powerful warrior or knight or general in this universe. You know, if I was alive during this universe of the Erdtree and Marika the Queen and Radagon and Morgott, I don't want to be a powerful character. I don't want to be a powerful person because I'll have a target on my back, and you know, Marika will just wake up one day and decide, you know what, this guy has to go. He's become too powerful. You know, even though I've served the Erdtree Empire, I'm loyal, I'll still be seen as a threat.
Death sealed, it is a required task, and he takes on this essential responsibility. These honoured heroes, the moment they become a risk, would soon receive a visit from this Erdtree loyalist. There were once heroes who walked the battlefields, abundantly blessed by the Erdtree itself, who, upon earning their honour, simply died. Morgott was extremely effective. His gruesome appearance and terrible strength earned him a nickname, Morgott the Fell Omen. An omen of terrible ferocity, deadly, for he was fell to every hero he called upon, and no challengers rose up. No harm was brought to Marika or her children, until Morgott failed his mother once again. For one night, a night that should have been watched over successfully by Morgott's cavalry, a group of female assassins, invisible to the eye with their magic veils, slaughter Marika's child. Godwyn the Dragonslayer dies in soul, and his body is terribly damaged and infected. Marika sees her son, who should have lived a life eternal, destroyed. Morgott's cavalry responds so quickly after the event they catch the assassins in flight. They almost kill Electo, the ringleader, only for her daughter Tish to die defending her. His cavalry are relentless, and they chase down Electo and lock her in an everjail. But Morgott's responsibility was prevention, not punishment. The demigods have felt their first taste of death, and Morgott blames himself. He creates the Sentry's Torch, imbued with magic that reveals assassins cloaked in veils, and gives it to the protectors of the Erdtree. With this, he hopes that such a night of black knives will never come again. How long after Marika loses her son does she shatter the Elden Ring? If death had never come to a demigod, would she have done it at all?
No, I don't think so. Remember, Godwyn probably was her favorite child, was the number one child, and now that he's gone, there's nothing more to live for in this world. Shatter the ring. Shatter the ring. Since the only light in your life has been taken away, shatter the entire world, Yeah.
Morgott, who loves the Erdtree, he must view this decision as foolish, perhaps even treacherous. On the Elden Ring breaking, Morgott receives a gift, a great rune.
Hear me, demigods, my children beloved, make of thyselves that which ye desire, be it a lord, be it a god. But should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
But is this true? If none of them fight each other and they come together, then things can remain as they were. When the runes are brought back together, that is when it can be rebuilt. If you loved the Erdtree, you shouldn't allow Marika to tempt you. Morgott knows his place. He is not guided by the flame of ambition. Do his siblings learn from him and try to resist their newfound strength for the greater good? In any case, the temptation of power gets the better of them as its maddening taint takes hold. Morgott is humble, even in response to Marika breaking the Elden Ring, and surprisingly, of all his siblings, it is his twin who differs most here. Mog escapes to form his own new order. Mog can be seen in his new ornate robes when he steals Miquella, having escaped the squalid sewers.
Miquella, that's his name. Yes, I forgot the name of the person that Mog abducted. Yes, it's Miquella.
And replacing it with the finery of his planned order. A new dynasty of blood. An order he hopes will replace the dominant order of the lands between. But Morgott wants only to mend and aid the Erdtree, keeping his garments and accepting his station. His other siblings are closer to Mog. They crave power. The mad taint of their new power infects them, and they fight amongst themselves to gain the great runes. Morgott views them as traitors. Traitors not to Marika, the mother who didn't care for him as a child and simply put him to use as a blade in his later life, but as traitors to the Erdtree and to the Order itself. And as Marika wishes this to happen, his mother is a traitor to the Erdtree too. Morgott decides he must protect the Erdtree from being invaded and taken over by whatever alternative order is desired by the victor, whether it be a bodiless witch, a rotten demigod, or someone deluded enough to try and start an entirely new order. To keep the Erdtree safe, he relies on more than his strength. He begins to rely on illusion. Morgott himself was born into hiding. His whole life has been a secret, buried in the shadows. He now takes this aspect of his history and uses it. Morgott now becomes the illusionist and the illusion. And if he has not received grace for his work with the Knights Cavalry, he receives it here, when he becomes the Veiled Monarch of Leyndell.
The Veiled Monarch. Okay. Yeah, the people in Leyndell did not know that their king or steward or, the leader of Leyndell is an Omen. They did not know for a very long time until you as the player started, further delving deeper into this situation and heading up to fight against him, Morgott. Only then did the people then realize that our leader is actually an Omen. What I'm trying to understand is how was this allowed? How is this possible? Considering how these people feel about omens. How is it possible for Morgott to become the leader, the king?
the name Morgott rises from the darkness. Not as an omen, but as a king. He is given the talisman pouch by the Finger Maidens and the Two Fingers. He is accepted as ruler by the Greater Will. Now that Morgott is the best option, the god of the Erdtree has...
It's not the best option, he's the only option. No one else is here to protect the Erdtree. No one else is here to make sure the perpetuation of this system under the Golden Order, you know. He's the only option. He's not the best, he's not, he's definitely is the last option, yeah.
graced him and given him the right to rule. And to the world who has never heard the name of Morgott, he is now the king of Leyndell. This king meets with no one in person, yet no single person apart from Morgott knows this fact. They each assume their station isn't high enough for such an honor. So
wow! So that's how he's been able to keep up this ruse? Everyone believes they're not in a high enough station to actually meet face to face with their king? This is crazy. This is crazy. Wow. So there are no attendants, there are no ministers of different portfolios of the city or anyone of importance. They don't believe that they have the right to go and meet up with the king and discuss with him important state issues. So how does Morgott relay his commands to his subjects? How does he do it?
he creates this fantasy around him, and while it is not a perfect illusion, some pierce it, Gideon the All-Knowing being one of them. But the knowledge of few amongst the noise of many does not spread, if it is shared at all, and most souls of the lands between are unaware that they are ruled over by an Omen. But the Greater Will and the Erdtree are just as ruthless as ever. Just as no blessings were wasted on Morgott's birth, neither does the Greater Will gift any more here than is absolutely necessary. He may be monarch, but he is not Elden Lord. He is still an Omen. An Omen cannot re-enter into the system. Such a folding could corrupt the Order entire, creating a pox upon life itself. He is no true king, and Bloodhound Knight Floor knows it. Floor continues his wait for a true king to serve. The Erdtree rejects Morgott, remaining blocked by thorns. He would only enter to restore things as best he can, but even this is met with failure. Despite this, he does not stop loving the Erdtree and continues his duty. And his duty is protection as a steward, protection of the Erdtree against the traitors. He defends Leyndell in an all-out war, Leyndell's second defense, stacking high the corpses of his enemies. The wall is never breached. He fights back Radahn, the lion of the battlefield and the conqueror of the stars, as Morgott, and the wall is still unbreached.
And they still don't know that they are related. I think Morgott does know that, he's fighting against his brother, but, the other demigods, they don't know. They're just fighting against someone. They believe that the king of Leyndell, the current, steward of Leyndell, has sent over his greatest champion to fight against them. When in actual fact, it's actually him, Morgott. Yeah, wow.
Malenia may be undefeated, but she never challenged Morgott, and no demigod succeeds in entering the capital. The wall is unbreached to this day. And he doesn't just defend. He takes actions against heresy and those attempting to undermine the Erdtree's system. He sends his troops to attack the Volcano Manor, laying siege upon it until even those faithful to Rykard regret ever rebelling. All this time, he makes sure to cull any traitors, tarnished, or champions who have ambitions for Elden lordship. He calls mighty heroes to join his ranks, accepting many who have been outcast in the past. Banished or not, he needs strength in this chaos of the Shattering. We know he called Engvall, a banished knight who rejected Morgott to watch over a masterless castle. And he called banished knight Oleg, who took up the call, undoing his banishment. He killed 100 traitors under Morgott and earned the honour of an Erdtree burial. He gives their actions just reward, and once again this is the conduct of a lord, as he gifts what he himself will never be permitted.
A lord in an Omen body. That's what he is. He is a lord in an Omen body.
An Erdtree burial. But his ruthless service to the Order, his unwavering fixation on what is best for the Erdtree, leads to other, more severe decisions. For it is not only those who were banished that Morgott accepts during the war. He uses his own kind. He had forgotten the royal omens below the capital. His freedom did not grant them theirs. But now, more unkind than this neglect, he uses omens as weapons of war. He cannot have pity for them. He cannot lose this war. Just as the Greater Will spares no expense on Morgott for the sake of the Order, this harshness goes down the chain. Morgott wastes nothing on the Omen. He sends them into battle as brute force warriors. He awards them cleavers, a tool of war made to take advantage of brute, untrained strength. These weapons blister the hands that wield them, as they aren't even equipped with a handle. And in a final insult, showing the Lord's mistrust of his own kind, they are cursed to break. This ruler wouldn't want omens causing trouble once the fighting is over. Armed with a cleaver, they could become trouble for the capital's omen killers. In the lands between, perfumers, the healer Trisha, and perhaps even Fia are kinder to omens than Morgott is. But we shouldn't speak too soon. After all, Trisha fails to help the omens, and Morgott understands the omen curse better than anyone.
Yeah, but you know, he doesn't see himself, or should I say, like, he doesn't see the rest of the Omen as his own people. You know, he's also being very cold-blooded, like his mother, on this situation, and he's using them as tools, just like how he is being used as a tool by the Erdtree and the Greater Will. You know, he already sees himself as a lord. And what do lords do? Lords protect their realms, or they protect their kings or queens and the institution that is centered around their kingdom. And essentially that's what Morgott is doing here. You know, he doesn't see himself as an Omen. He sees himself as a lord of the Erdtree, and his job is to protect it from anyone and everyone, even people who look like him, people who have the same affliction like him. He still does not see them as his own people.
Morgott does whatever it takes, and he succeeds. No traitor gains power while the fell omen and his hands roam the lands between. And he manages all of this while ruling as a king, while carrying out the battlefield victories as Morgott, still wearing his rags and ensuring the running of the capital as Morgott, who has traded the shadows of the depths for the shadows cast by statecraft. He tirelessly defends to this day, until he defends his Erdtree against us. The first rune a Tarnished usually seeks is the rune of Godric the Grafted, or as Morgott respectfully calls him, Godric the Golden. Morgott materializes with golden magic to block our journey to his relative, to our first great rune. He has kept his identity separate, and we will not know we have met the ruler of Leyendell until much later.
Was Godric also an Omen? I'm just wondering about that, because he also had multiple, well, Yeah, he didn't have horns. So yeah, no, I don't think he's an omen. But he does look extremely weird. Like there's hands and there's pieces of a dragon and everything just all clumped up onto one body. So yeah, he looks different compared to all these other demigods.
He wastes no courtesy on greeting us, mocking our ignorance and how easily we are led by others. The hunt for glory, the flame of ambition inside us, makes us rush headlong into a world we do not understand. He does not respect this attitude. Even in the fight, we can see a glimpse of who he really is, a lord of illusion, making mighty gold hammers out of the air that disappear an instant later. He himself disappears after the fight, his death yet another trick. His voice on the wind warns us of the hands of the fell Omen.
The hands of the fell Omen shall brook thee no quarter.
The Knight's cavalry still roam, and will kill us if they find us. Later, as we come closer to his capital, he uses the body of an old wandering noble. He possesses this body with golden magic from the time of his birth, the symbol of the Crucible. On defeat, he departs again, the corpse of the man left behind, used and discarded, just like the troops and omens in the Shattering. Finally, we meet him in flesh and blood at the entrance of the Erdtree. The spirit-like golden thrones are glowing. Morgott must know that for us to be here, many of those who ought to sit on these thrones are dead. He does not mention his twin, but the others, for him, they are all traitors.
Like I said, maybe the reason why he doesn't mention his twin because he doesn't know he exists. Just like as Hawkshaw stated that it's not really known whether Morgott and Mog were together in the shunning grounds or were they in separate cells, and they've been in separate cells all their lives, you know. So we don't really know whether Morgott actually knew he had a sibling who also had, you know, the Omen affliction. Yeah.
And he does not mourn them. He greets us as pillagers, and he is not wrong. We have taken every rune we possess by force. He prepares to fight us for the third time, revealing yet another illusion. His walking stick and staff is in fact his accursed blood that he recanted, resealed into a blade. Its shifting hues and natures showing all the natures within an omen, growing from within them, torturing them. He fights with the strength expected from someone who has never known defeat, until his strength begins to fail, and the grace of gold he was granted breaks. His blood is unsealed, mixing into its omen chaos, staining the thrones. His omen hues have no place here. Morgott is ashamed of himself, but he is even more ashamed of his curse, this twisted error of life itself. He promises he will never forget our part in this. He has stained the thrones right beneath the Erdtree. But it ends an empty threat. Finally, Morgott falls. The Greater Will does not save him, for in the great scheme of things there is no reason to. On death, his omen features seem to leave him, and his human essence is left to die.
Doesn't that usually happen, or is he like a special case where his omen, you know, parts of himself have just disappeared and all that's left is his human self? I'm just wondering about that. Yeah, why? Why though? Why would the Greater Will or the Erdtree take away his omen part of himself and just leave him as a human at the verge of death like this? Why? Why didn't he do it before, when he was alive? So it is possible to take away the Omen curse. It is possible.
He can barely speak, but tells us we shall share the same fate as him, that we are destined to fail.
Thy deeds shall be met with failure, just as I.
Imagine, this is the first time in a long time he's been able to just rest, you know, to lie on his back with his head also on the floor. He couldn't do it before because he had all these horns on his body and on his face, so he couldn't do it properly. But now, when he's at the verge of death, he's able to do it. That's powerful right there. It's sad. It's really sad, and it's taking me back to my question about, now that we see it is possible for the Omen curse to be removed from someone, why wasn't it done before? Why did the Greater Will not do this before with other Omen, afflicted people, or Morgott or Morg? Why weren't they also given this chance? Or is it something that only appears when you're at the verge of death?
Failure, the shadow of his birth that has never left him. It comes to take him now in his final defeat. The only person with any pity for Morgott, the only one to mourn him, is his father. The veiled monarch was an illusion, so no one knows when he passes away. The body of Morgott, Leyendel's king, now human and beyond shame, is left at the foot of the Erdtree. No one notices, no one in the capital even stumbles upon their thankless king.
Because no one knows that he was the king. No one, cares, because he was never there to present himself to the people to say that I'm your king. And if he did that in his Omen form, no one was going to be led by him. No one was going to trust him. Yeah, it's just sad, really.
Morgott knew he could not have an Erdtree burial, but he is not even offered the dignity of a standard one. Instead, he is found by Godfrey, who cradles his son with tenderness. Sarosh roars, while Godfrey maintains his composure. Morgott then fades away, and whatever is left becomes the guidance of grace. The Greater Will uses Morgott once more as motivation for Godfrey in battle, a means to an end. Morgott succeeded as a tool for others, and as a shield for the Erdtree. But it was always Marika's aims, the Greater Will's plans, our ambitions that succeeded in the end. Morgott may never have been given a true victory, but there was never a more true servant of the Erdtree, or one who loved it more. Morgott's actions were not saintly. He uses his soldiers as tools, he deceives his own people, and until death he sanctions Omen killers. Why would he do this when he has lived a life as an Omen, when he knows its torture? He does not abolish this cult because he believes Omens will harm the Order of the Erdtree, and he will not let compassion, ambition, loathing, or anything hinder his service. Does Morgott inspire love? Does he deserve respect? If the Omens were free, would they forgive him? Were his actions worthwhile, or did they amount to nothing but a delay? We can be certain that Morgott held absolutely to his principles. He did not decide to spite the world for the way it treated him. He kept faith and did his duty to the end. He hid himself from those who would not accept him. He forgave those who abandoned him. And he loved and protected what always rejected him. Does the Erdtree grant him one blessing in the end? a true death and escape from suffering. If this is a kindness, like everything the Greater Will has ever granted Morgott, it is a cheap one.
And the question about, whether all that he's done amounts to something, or was he just here just to prevent an eventuality? I think it amounts to nothing, really, what he's been doing here. He was just purely here as a stopgap measure to protect the Erdtree until someone who is capable enough, who is strong enough to change or to preserve the hegemony of the Erdtree comes by and, kills the protector of the Erdtree. That's essentially his job right here. Just to be a stopgap measure to protect the tree from anyone who is not worthy until someone comes by, you, the player, to do the job, to complete the job, essentially. So did any of his actions amount to anything that could drastically change the lands in between? No. He was purely here just for the continuation of the status quo, as much as possible in Lindell and in the rest of the lands in between. That's what he was, just a stopgap measure, a tool.
To live a life like Morgott's would make it so easy to turn to despair.
Yes. That's why I'm saying if I was him, I would have done things differently here. I would not be following this system. I'll be trying to make my own system, like Mog here.
And spite. To end up thinking, what does it matter then if the curse claims it all? But Morgott rises above his circumstance. The Omen helm asks, the heart of an Omen without the body to match, could there be any crueler existence? There is one. Its opposite, the heart of a lord with the body of an Omen. And Morgott lived this existence with honor. If you enjoy our lore content and want more Elden Ring videos, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. And if you want to support us even more, you can find a link to our Patreon below.
Guys, that is it with, what's the name again? Yes, Morgott, his story explained Elden Ring lore on the Hawkshaw YouTube channel, and it was requested by Gato Sorpendido. Yes, Gato Sorpendido 5279. Yes, hopefully I'm pronouncing your your handle correctly there. But yeah, Morgott, he did something I think I would have never done, really. Supporting this system that has just destroyed my life, whatever life I could have had. No, I just couldn't do it. I would want to destroy this system. I'd want to remake it into something that would be inclusive of people who are like me, the Omen. I would want to do that. Instead of forgiving those who have hurt me and forgetting and then joining the very institution that suppresses and oppresses people like me. Yeah, no. There's no way. I'm not that forgiving. But yeah, he's an interesting character. Difficult past, difficult present, and like I said before, the Greater Will, it seems to me that the Greater Will has the power to take away this curse that is afflicting people with the Omen curse. It has the ability to take away that curse. as we saw with Morgott, as he was about to die. He was reverted back into a proper human form, without the horns, without anything that attributes to an omen. So it is possible. So now I ask myself, why hasn't the Greater Will done the same thing for everybody else, or the Erdtree done the same thing for everybody else in the lands between, those who were afflicted with the Omen curse? Now, this Greater Will God is definitely not a forgiving God. He is not a benevolent God. No ways. No ways. No ways. Whatever this being is, enjoys, the suffering of others, and tries to make a lesson out of it as well. I don't subscribe to such nonsense like that. So definitely, I would not be like Morgott. I would not be supporting the status quo of this institution and the power balance of the Erdtree and the influence of the Greater Will. I would try to change it. I really would. But Morgott is unique. He's different. He's special. He saw things that I can't understand, and many other people also probably could not understand. He believed in the order of the Golden Order. He believed in the Erdtree. He believed in the Greater Will, and he found peace in that. How was that possible? I don't know. But he found peace in it, and he wanted to protect it no matter what. He's definitely special. But guys, that is it. Thank you again to Hawkshaw YouTube channel for compiling and presenting this information on Morgott, as well as his brother and the rest of this messed up family. All the demigod children, and Marika and Radagan and Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And it was really enjoyable to hear more about these characters, especially Morgott. And guys, that is it. If you guys want to check out the original video as well as Hawkshaw's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye.